All right, welcome along to the RTÉ Soccer Podcast. Raf Diallo here. As always, you can watch or listen to this podcast every week on your platform of choice, and that includes RTÉ.ie, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And to get the latest episodes, just follow on any of those platforms. Lots to catch up on and preview this week. We'll talk LOI with a special focus on managerless Pats and the latest on the Premier League title race. And to do that, I'm joined by two men with strong associations with St. Pat's at one time or another, Eoin Doyle and John McDonnell. Hope you're both keeping well and you're enjoying the well, actually, the summer weather's gone. So yeah, whatever the remainder of that was. I hope you had a good. I hope you had a good weekend, and you're still in a decent mood despite the change out there. But anyway, look, before we talk about Pats and League of Ireland, obviously last week the Champions League semi-finals were completed in terms of the second leg, so we know who's going to be playing in the Champions League final on June the 1st, which is going to be live on RT2 and RT Player, and it's going to be Real Madrid against Dortmund. And in the meantime, Kylian Mbappe has confirmed he's leaving PSG. He hasn't said where he's going for sure, but I think everyone knows that it is to Real Madrid. But casting ahead to next season, do you think it's one of these things of too many cooks kind of spoil the broth, given the positions he likes picking up and the type of players they have already, the likes of Vinicius, that maybe they could have been better off going in another direction? Or is it just a great problem to have? He's one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, I think if you look at Real Madrid historically, they managed to squeeze all these Galacticos into the team, no matter what position they want to play. I think if you look in recent times, they probably had a similar issue with Bale and Ronaldo. Ronaldo ends up top, and Bale does his work from the left or the right, and they just all deal with it. And there's something about the club where, like, it's a place full of egos, but they still manage to work together and pull out these amazing achievements time and time again. It's not like the PSG project or anything like that. They kind of managed to probably one of the only clubs in the world where the club is actually bigger than the egos of the players now, if that makes any sense at all. So, no, for me, like if I was Ancelotti and I was a manager and they said to me, you have Vinicius Junior, but we can get Mbappe as well, I would not be saying no to that.
Yeah, certainly not.
Just finish on Ancelotti. I think they've the right man in the right place at the right time for them as well.
Yeah.
I would see other managers fight with fellas' egos and stuff like that. I just think Ancelotti lets them at it. He doesn't fight them. Yeah. He sits there and relaxes. We know what we need to do. And I just think he's the right man in Real Madrid at the right time. But talking about, looking at forward players, they're going to miss. Modric is finishing up. Tony Kroos is finishing up. Who are they going to replace in there? That's the engine room of the club and the team. But at this stage, they just seem to find a way. And the games over the last couple of weeks have been fantastic. Some of the football, the quality of the football has just been phenomenal. And that's, we're really at the top end of it there. Some brilliant goals.
Yeah, I suppose the final one of the Champions League. Do you give Dortmund much chance, Johnny, in terms of surprising Real Madrid at Wembley?
Well, look, they're there. They're in the final. They'll prepare. It's how long, can they get a goal? Can they hang on? Can they get a second goal? But with Real Madrid, like, you've seen how late they come. They just keep coming at you and creating chances and hitting the crossbar and hitting this and whatever. But I think Madrid might probably have just too much for them on the day. Dortmund haven't. They've probably been out of the scene a fair bit. Was it 2018 was the last time they were at Champions League finals and stuff?
2013.
2014, sorry. And I know the manager is there. He's played at the club. He's managed the club at all levels. His heart is at the club. But for me, I just think Madrid would have too much for them. But in saying that, it's the final, and they've done brilliant to get there, and there'll be some atmosphere.
Yeah, and also the Europa League final, which of course is happening here at the Aviva Stadium. Bayer Leverkusen playing Atalanta on Wednesday week, so going to have plenty of colour and vibes around the city as well, with the different fan groups coming over. But before we talk about Pats in the League of Ireland, a former Pats player, Sam Curtis, still only 18, made his Premier League debut for Sheffield United against Everton and played about half an hour at the weekend. Stats, there's not really much to tell about the game, given it wasn't a TV game per se, but 15 touches, dispossessed once. Chris Wilder afterwards, the Sheffield United manager, said he got his chance. I think he will look back at it and think, wow, it's a different league, a different setup, different pace to what he's accustomed to. It wasn't by any means an accomplished debut, but it's given him a taste of what the Premier League is like, how physical it is, how quick it is. He has to get up to speed if he wants to be part of everything going forward. And Eoin, just a couple of weeks ago, you were talking about Sam Curtis's debut for Pats and maybe how tricky it was, but then obviously he kicked on and he really showed his talent. He's been capped by the Ireland under 21s. Um, I suppose in terms of his journey and just getting to a point where he's actually making a Premier League debut, just how impressed have you been with him? And I suppose what type of character is he as well?
Yeah, no, he's great. He's a great kid. Fully focused on football. He he constantly looking for information, constantly looking for feedback on how he done. Not only to the coaches, he'd ask the senior pros in the squad after matches and stuff how we thought he'd done in games and stuff. So he's constantly trying to improve on himself. The best thing about Sam, which I always found about him, is that if he makes a mistake, he never makes it twice. So like he could make a mistake and then 10 games later the same opportunity would happen. He wouldn't make the same mistake again. He really learns on the job and he's very good at that. Regarding the comments from Wilder, they're probably a little bit harsh for an 18-year-old making his debut in the Premier League. But I'd imagine no Wilder that I'd say he's just trying to keep Sam grounded. At the end of the day, he has just made his Premier League debut at the age of 18. And that can be a bit of a tough thing for young lads as well. They can think they're bigger than they are and stuff. And I'd imagine he's just trying to say it's kind of like one of them. It's a well done, but listen, this is the start of it now. Let's not get carried away, type of thing. So no, I'm delighted for him. He deserves everything because he's fully committed. He gives absolutely everything to trying to be a better player. And yeah, please God, next year now he gets a good run of the team.
Yeah, and the thing as well, Johnny, sorry, that Curtis, he's very experienced as well. It's not like he's just come through under 23s football. It was a conversation I remember having with Jim Goodwin, former Ireland international, when he was managing St. Mirren, which is that he would prefer to sign a player who played 100 or 150 games, 50 games, whatever it is in the League of Ireland, rather than sign a player who's come through sort of academy under 23 football. And Curtis, again, has a huge amount of experience, in his legs already.
And I think that's 100% right. And I mean, Owen would have seen more of it in England where the 21 games we played or the 23 games. They might be nice and tactical and, they'll be playing different systems against one another. But to be playing competitive football at 16, 17 years of age has to stand to him. I remember Curtis Fleming going away from Pats when he went away, and they said the same thing about Curtis. He went straight into the middle squad straight away, with a good squad with Brian Robson and all that, and Viv Anderson. But they were astonished how well up to speed he was. But that's because he was playing in a competitive league, and that's going to be the same for Sam. Now, coming out of the Premier League, maybe it's good for Sam that they're going into the Championship, and he might get a bit more game time in the Championship, and that will build his confidence and build him as a player and as a person, as Owen says. But I've seen him playing when he's a young kid with Kevin's, him and Evan in the one team, and Adam Murphy was at Pats as well. Owen would know Adam. Adam is at Bristol City, so that group of players have done well and getting away. So maybe a little bit of hope for the future. But great to see him making his debut, and as Alan said, he is a good kid and he's focused, and that's all you want from him. And you just hope he gets a bit of luck and stays injury free. Makes a really good career for himself.
Yeah, and hopefully another game, because they have Sheffield United, obviously, like everyone else, the final day of the Premier League coming on Sunday. Hopefully he gets another few minutes as well before they drop down to the Championship for next season. And we'll talk about Premier League in more detail in terms of the top end of the table later on. But we're going to turn our attentions to the League of Ireland, and in the Premier Division, we do have a live game this Friday. It's Sligo Rovers against Bohemians, live on RT2 and RT Player from 7:30. And the results at the weekend just gone: Shamrock Rovers and Pats, which was the TV game, they drew 2-2 in Tala. Waterford beat Dundalk 4-1. Shells and Drogheda shared the points 1-1 at Talca Park. Galway United and Sligo Rovers drew 0-0, and Derry City beat Bohemians 1-0 with Michael Duffy scoring a late winner there. But we're going to start on Pats because there's quite a lot of noise on and off the pitch. And last week, Anthony was presenting the podcast last week, and John Daly's departure as manager was only confirmed a few hours after the podcast was recorded, and Sean O'Connor was in interim charge for the Shamrock Rovers game. And of course, as I said, they got a draw. But in the meantime, according to David Snaden, the 42, on Saturday, Stephen Kenny was in advanced talks to take over as manager, a club he's obviously had strong connections to in the distant past, where he actually started his managerial career in the under-21s ranks between 1997 and 1998, and obviously has a good relationship with Gareth Kelleher by all accounts. And those reports are only growing now in the last while. The Indo, the Irish Sun have all reported that there's a good chance that this could happen in the next 24 to 48 hours, but we'll wait and see. There's nothing confirmed at this point. But Johnny, I suppose first, how big a coup would this be for Pats if this were to happen and they were able to get Stephen Kenny in as manager?
Well, look, with the quick departure of John, I think they obviously have someone in place. Hopefully this is not going to roll on for them. That as you say, in advanced talks with someone, whether it's Stephen or not, I don't know. But look, if to get Stephen in, what he's done in the league, the history of what he's done in the league, it would be phenomenal for the club. I think Stephen would have a feeling for the club. Okay, he's a professional manager. He go where the work needs to be. But I think he's a good feeling for Pats. But for the stuff that he done, and we think back to Dundalk, but you go back to the Longford days when he was at Longford, when he started his career, the stuff he done. He's a brilliant guy for getting players in, and finding players and building teams. So for Stephen coming into Pats, the priority is obviously to get them up the table, whoever comes in, if it is Stephen, and get them up the table and make sure can they qualify for Europe. And in this league, 3 games can bounce you up to the top of the league or bounce you down to the bottom. But for Stephen to go in there, there'd obviously have to be a plan, a 2 or 3 year plan for him. And, on his past performances, what he can do at League of Ireland, if he can replicate that going into Pats, would be unbelievable and fantastic. And, as I said, they're obviously in advanced talks with someone just to move John on so quick and whatever. So, big weekend for them this weekend as well, playing Derry. So again, he done his bit at Derry as well, Stephen. So he might want to be in the hot seat if he's coming in. That's if he's coming in. Friday night.
Yeah, we have to wait and see on that one. But it's not the first League of Ireland vacancy he's been linked with since departing the Ireland job, Eoin. And Bowes was one where there was a little bit of talk. Obviously, nothing happened on that front. There was also a link with Dundalk in terms of a return there. Nothing happened again on that front. But the suggestion had been that he was looking at taking either a job in England in one of the lower leagues there, one of the lower divisions, or potentially even on the continent. So do you look at it how do you see it from his point of view, and I suppose the risk and reward in terms of his career if he is to return to League of Ireland level, and specifically with Pats, if that is to pass?
It depends. I think you kind of have to look at what motivates Stephen. Like I don't know him personally. Maybe it's a few bob. Maybe it's just the day-to-day running a club, whatever it is. But time has passed now since his last role with the international team, and I'd imagine he's probably dying to get back into it. Nothing's came up for him on the continent, and nothing in the UK either. And when you're looking, obviously when there's managers being let go over there, you kind of look at the betting markets, and without being disrespectful to Stephen, he's never really in the running for any of these jobs. And I'm sure his name is being put out there and stuff, but it doesn't seem to be gaining any traction for him over there. So for me, like, he's the absolutely outstanding candidate to go into Pats. Like, he's the one that everyone would want in the league for the history he's done previously with Dundalk and what he's done everywhere, really, maybe Rovers aside. He's done some incredible stuff, and if he is to go into a job, he has to be backed into the job. And I'm sure that's what Gareth Gallagher's thinking here. It'll be, if he's out trying to get him, it'll be a long-term project. They'll give him the backing he needs to try and get them up, challenging for titles again. And it's a very exciting time for the club, an exciting time for everyone involved in the club, because like Stephen going in there will bring really could bring some glory days back to the club there, 100%, because it would be a long-term project. I'd love to see it. I really hope he gets it. I hope that Garrett's able to pull it off and get him in. And I think it'll be not only great for Pats, but it'll be great for the league. It'll be another proper challenger to Rovers alongside Derry. Exciting times.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot of good young players at Pats, and none more so than Mason Melia, of course, who's been capped at Ireland youth level and is a huge talent. Scored the equaliser at Tala against Shamrock Rovers there on Friday. Now, he was speaking to Valerie Wheeler after the game, after winning the player of the match.
Mason, first of all, congratulations, player of the match. How did you find the performance?
I thought it was very good from everyone. I think from the start we started off very well. We done our game plan, what we said to be. We're going to be aggressive, so I thought we done very well and we done it right. So yeah.
It's been a difficult week, of course, losing John. How were you able to put that to the side and give that performance?
It's been very difficult, obviously. Since I came in, John's been with me, so it's been difficult to get through. But the lads, I think they took it well. It's a great place to come, great place to play football, and I think we done well from the week.
You're 16 years of age only, and having a performance like that, it must be, must feel great for you yourself.
Oh yeah, it's very good. My family, I know my family and all are very proud of me. That's what we do it for, really. So just love the game, and it was buzzing, yeah.
Well done and congratulations again.
Cheers, thank you.
That is Mason Melia there, speaking to Valerie Wheeler, and he's not 17 until September. Oh, I mean, composure on the pitch. Like he might just talk us through how he took that goal to make it 2-2, but also clearly composure off the pitch as well in terms of how he deals with the media at such a young age.
Yes, he's great, isn't he? 16 years of age, and he's able to answer questions about managers leaving the club and stuff with elegance and with confidence like that. It's brilliant. I know I would have been chewing flip flops at that age if someone tried to interview me. Like there would have been no chance. But he's he's a great kid. He really, really is, and he's like I think from watching the that goes at the game on Friday, and it's just his athleticism. Like he not only for his finish and stuff, but he caused absolute havoc from minute one. You know, they went very attacking paths with a 4-4-2 with him and Keaton up front. And like he really, really stretched Pico Lopez, and you know, Pico was very lucky to actually stay on the pitch, and potentially Dan Cleary should have been sent off for a tackle on him as well. So he was really causing problems for them. And obviously, like regarding his finish, like brilliant run, excellent pass from Jamie Lennon. And I know there's been a lot of talk about Poles, and to be fair with Poles, the slip and makes Mason's mind up for him nice and early that what the type of finish he's going to do, but he executes it very well. And no, he's an exceptional talent, and I think it's very important we all enjoy him while we have him, because he's got a great future ahead of him. So he's brilliant. But like just touch on it, like I was obviously in there last year when he was breaking through, and he's so hard to train against. You know, he's got that raw ability. If you get close to him, you're getting elbowed in the stomach and the face, and he's just one of them. You don't want to get close because he hurts you. He's like real bony and stuff. But he's to back it up, then he knows how to finish. He's got the athleticism, he's pace, he makes excellent runs into the right areas, and he's gonna have a great career. It's great.
Yeah, and obviously in the first half though, Johnny, it was Aaron Green who seemed to be doing a lot of the running in terms he kept getting into that left channel, especially after he'd scored the opening goal in the game. But it was a real interesting tactical battle between Pats' aggression and the way Sean O'Connor had them set up, and then the way Rovers actually restarted reasonably well.
Yeah, look, you know, and I think Pats were aggressive in their style of play. They got after him, and with Poles in goal, I was at the Waterford game on the Monday as well, and he made a few errors in that game, and I'm sure Sean O'Connor had looked at that and putting balls in on top of him. His indecision, you know, from a defender's point of view and the keepers in that type of form, you know, you're nervous about balls going in over the top and whatever else, but I think Pat's got a spot on. I think he did, and they probably could have come out with a game or a win. But going back to Mason, like, I mean, his ability is, you know, he's talking about Lopez and Cleary. They were getting stuck into him, 16 years of age. He was well able for it. He was getting around, holding up, bringing people into the game, spinning off them, getting turns, getting in behind him, and a brilliant timing of his run. But he hadn't got much time to finish it, and he finished it brilliantly. And again, Paul's obviously slipped on the way out, so he's not going really too well for Shamrock Rovers in the goalkeeping department. But look, this young is going to have a great career. I think Shonny O'Connor done well in the week. Shonny stepping in, and he done well. He had the players prepared well, and I know that happens when a manager goes. There's a little bit of a bounce. But I thought Pats looked solid the other night, except for at the start. He gave a lot of play, even for the goal, the ball getting given away to Aaron Green, who stuck her away really well to first goal for Rovers. But they found themselves into the game. They built themselves into the game. But look, that team, he's going to lose more players. We're talking about Sam Curtis going away, you know, talking about Murphy going away, Melia going away. So in fairness to John Daly, he's players there, and he lost players as well. So this is going to be an ongoing thing. Say, with all the clubs, it happened at Bowes as well. Is it good for the league? No, but it's great for the players individually to get away and the profile that they're getting or whatever else. So I know I went off a little bit on that, but I just wanted to make that point about the players that the league is losing as well, the top young players as well.
Yeah, before we talk about the set piece defending, and I'll get your thoughts on that, Johnny, let's listen to Stephen Bradley first. He was also speaking to Valerie Wheeler after the game.
Stephen, an eventful game tonight. What are your thoughts after the performance?
Some of it was good, some of it wasn't good. Parts where we need to tidy up, but it was good to get some bodies back. We had enough chances to win 2 games, I thought, to be honest. Yeah, pretty even game.
Plenty of opportunities, I suppose, for the next game. You just need to work on finishing those.
Yeah, well, look, we create a lot of chances. I think we're the highest in the league in terms of chances created. We've also been the top scorers in the league the last few years, so we know we just need to stay patient and keep trusting what we're doing. We're more disappointed with the goals we gave away, to be honest. We know we score goals ourselves.
The next game is fast approaching. You just need to pick yourselves up and go again.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll analyse this, have a look at it, see where we went wrong, see where we could be better, and get ready for Dundalk next week.
Brilliant. Well done again.
Thank you.
All right, so Stephen Bradley there, and as I mentioned before, played the clip there, just the set piece defending, Johnny, from both sides, because Luke Turner, gets in at the far post for Pats, and then on the other side it's Daniel Cleary. Actually, quite similar goals in many ways. What are the issues you see from both sides in terms of how they defended those goals?
It's just a matter of getting organised and making sure you defend the ball till it's safe and it's clear. Not letting people get runs on you. A lot of movement in the box nowadays, a lot of blocking going on. I would know that. Being a forward, fellas trying to block your runs, or you're trying to block somebody else's run to create space for something around the back. So there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of movement, but you got to be really, really focused. And more importantly, the prevention of that is try not to give away silly frees in dangerous areas. They do happen, but you got to minimise that stuff. So the prevention is huge. Obviously, then you've got to make sure that you set up. Everyone knows their jobs. People coming onto the pitch know their jobs, who they're marking, what they have to do, and you stay marking until you have regained full possession or the ball is safe. So, and you can go through all that. You see the keeper slipping for Mason's goal. So things can happen in the game, but just to focus on it and, as I said, the prevention of it, minimise the free kicks that you give away and the corner kicks.
Yeah, and speaking of set pieces, a couple of weeks ago, Eoin, you were talking to us a bit about France Piero and how he'd actually been playing quite well for Drogheda without the goals really coming. They seem to be coming now, and he scored the opener very, very early on against Shells in their 1-1 draw at Talca Park, and he took that header really, really well.
That was a great header, like a proper old school target man striker's header. The ball comes in and you can see he's put everything behind it with his neck and buries it into the corner. And to be fair to Cairns, he gets a hand on it, but such is the power of the header that it still goes into the corner. So no, he's a big player now for Drogheda this year. I think him and Markey have been outstanding so far. And everything seems to go through the two of them really with their cup when it start to kind of create chances and stuff. So no, big player for them. He's starting to get his goals now, and he's and I kind of touched on it like the last time we were speaking. Like them big target men, they're not known to be like 20, 25 goal a season strikers. It's more about their general play, and they bring the rest of the team up the pitch by holding the ball up, etc. But they're able to nick in with the odd goal here and there. It's another bonus, and he's starting to do that now for Drogheda. And again, like you just kind of have to admire the job that Kev Doherty does there at Drogheda. He's picking up unexpected points like he always does, and he's doing wonderful stuff. And he's to say Piero's been a great signing for him.
Yeah, and on the Shells point of view, again, I think it's within 5 days, Sean Boyd having to pop up with equalisers. Now, obviously, the one previous to that had been very, very late on. This time was a little bit earlier, but Shells weren't able to kick on. And it seems like Damien Duffy wasn't too happy. He seemed incensed from his comments afterwards, Owen, that about a sort of lack of motivation. Now, maybe that's just trying to get his team G'd up, but they're still top of the table. But it just seems to be, it's a little bit tougher now in terms of trying to grind out wins.
Oh, 100%. He's I'd say he's absolutely raging that they conceded from a set piece in the second or third minute of the match. That would absolutely break his heart, because the type of coach, and from what you hear of what he's done, is that they're set, they know their jobs inside out, and they defend like warriors. And to be fair to Piero, like he was free in the middle of the box, and as good a finish it was, that's not good enough. And I'm sure like that's well below Damien's standards and Joey O'Brien's standards in the club there. But yeah, it's just like for what they obviously managed to get back into the game, and you kind of have to commend Mark Hoyle. Like I think he's been outstanding for them, and he manages to win the ball back in the middle of the pitch unexpectedly, and then gives it to Matty Smith. They win the free kick from there, and it's an excellent ball in, and Boydie does very well to finish it as well. So like Sean Boyd's gonna be a big player for them. He's a little bit different from what you're used to kind of seeing in the League of Ireland, strikers wise, and he's big, he's gangly, he's awkward. Kind of similar to what Drogheda have a Piero there, but he's a big handful, and I'm delighted for him that he's able to get his team back in it, because he's been out of the team the last few weeks as well. But the last 2 games he's managed to kind of rescue them twice there.
Yeah, and
he finished his goal very well up in there. He got across the defender really well up in there. He finished the goal well. But just looking at Shells, and they'd be so hard to beat once they go ahead. And watching this season, when they go ahead, really hard to peg back. But it's the opposite now. They've gone behind and they come back into games. And I know they've drawn a lot of games recently and stuff, but for me, that's a good positive that they should be looking at that. They've gone ahead. We won't get these. They might nick another one. They'll defend as Owen said they defend like Warriors 100%, but in the last couple of games they've gone behind and they've pulled it back. So that, to me, would be a huge positive for Damien Duff and Chelsea.
It's actually, it shows you the competitive nature of the league this year as well, that they're still top of the league. If you actually look at, for all the negativity around Pats at the minute, their form over the last 10 games, they picked up more points than Shells. So it's actually remarkable, and it shows you how good of a start Shells had to the season. But the recent form hasn't been great. So it's I'm sure Daniel will be trying to turn that around now. He turned these draws into wins and try to stay up there. But obviously, like you look at Derry are quietly going about their business now. No one's saying too much about them. They're only a point off them. And you can imagine Rovers are going to start climbing as well. So with all their injured players coming back. So no, it's going to be a great run in, I think.
Yeah, and Derry City right on Shell's shoulders now after what you can term, I suppose, as a big win against Bohs. It was 1-0, Michael Duffy, 5 minutes from time, Johnny. And, when you look at it, it's a great moment for Duffy, but Derry really had to, I suppose, ride their luck a little bit early on, because Akintunde had a couple of chances that one he definitely should have buried and one he was unlucky with.
And, and he does need a few chances to score, in fairness, but, again, as you said, late goal, that's a big weekend for Derry, getting them 3 points, because right on the coattails of Shells. Derry have been probably a little bit out of the spotlight and stuff. They've drawn 6 games, I think, this season. They've won 7, they've lost 3. But they'll go on a run. They're going to go on a run. They're getting their players back. Really, really good. They play the right way. The likes of Duffy, patching on his free kicks, his delivery of free kicks, his ability to score direct free kicks. Look, they've been plodding along. I think they're going to go on a run. And, I think they'll probably have a little bit more probably than Shells by the end of the season and maybe overtake them. But look, they're a good team. They play the right way. Rory has them. He's building over the last couple of years, but I think Derry will definitely go on a run. Big week for them this week down in Inchicore, down with Pats. If they can get a win there, and they're a top team. They're a good team, and I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them going on a run, as I said.
Yeah, and for Bohs, Stephen O'Donnell coming in as assistant manager to Alden Reynolds is an interesting move. I mean, the Dundalk experience as manager would have stung him, I suppose, by the end, just how that sort of unravelled, but he's clearly highly regarded as a coach. So I suppose a very strong move from Bohs there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, look, I'm personally for Stevie, I'm delighted he's back in work. He's got 3 young kids, and I've been in football management and stuff. It's when you've got a young family, being unemployed isn't a great place to be. So personally for him, it's great for him. But like a very shrewd move from Alan Reynolds there. And if you look across everyone he's brought in, like him, Stevie, obviously Rennie's full of knowledge himself, but like Alan Moore there doing lots of work in the background as well. Like that's a very, very knowledgeable management team he's after bringing in there. And I think if you look at how Bohs themselves have been growing off the pitch, I'd imagine over the next couple of years now, if they give with the backing that Rennie deserves with that management team, I can see them really making great strides. So Stephen Kenny coming back to Pats and Rovers being like they are, and Derry gone, and now with this management team in at Bohs, like these next few seasons could be very exciting altogether, definitely.
Yeah, and so go on, Johnny.
Yeah, we've got to give Keith Long a bit of credit as well. They're up there, Waterford, like probably a little bit of a sticky start. And, Keith has done brilliant work down in Waterford. Again, a little project going on for him down there. A little bit of backing. Again, don't be in the limelight all the time. But I watched them last Monday against Rovers and Tala, and well deserved a win. Really, I know Rovers had a few players out, and these young players coming in, young Noon in the midfield and stuff. But Waterford looked like a solid team, and they're on a bit of a run. They got the win again the weekend. They battered Dundalk 4-1. They're on a bit of a roll at the moment, and I have to give Keith a bit of credit there. He's really done a really good job, and they'd be a difficult team to get points off as well this season.
Yeah, because of course Melia Asamoah would have been the headline act on in terms of his hat trick for Waterford against Dundalk. Now we've talked about his pace quite a bit on this podcast, but there was a kind of range of different styles of finishes in terms of the 3 goals that he scored. But the first one, certainly, it's capitalising on just a poor kick out by Ross Munro, who's in the Dundalk goal, because George Shelby is currently serving a 10-match ban handed to him by the FAI disciplinary committee for a breach of regulations on racism / discrimination in abuse towards a match official. Now, Just in terms of Dundalk, they need everything to go for them at the moment, and then a poor kick out like that, I suppose it puts them on the back foot. They did come back into it, but then Waterford sort of kick on, and they had no answer.
Yeah, and when you're down, and you feel like everything's against you all the time. And that's certainly happened for Dundalk at the minute. There's obviously lots of negative noise around the club, um, and to go beside that, the rock bottom of the league as well, and by a margin now as well. They're 6 points off, they're 9 points off eighth, where they at least want to be. So it's a enormous task for them now to try to get out of that. But yeah, like a poor kick out, but like you have to hand it to Asamoah. He's great. He picked it up. He had to carry the ball a fair distance before he makes that lovely finish into the bottom right corner. So he's doing very well for them. His second goal, I was very impressed with. When the ball goes out wide on the far side, and Johnny would have, I'm sure, said to his wingers over the years, make sure you get into the box, make sure you're at the back post. But he went further than that. He went right across. He nearly tapped that in at the front post, which was great. And he got in there. And obviously the third one was a bundle of defensive errors, obviously from the Dundalk point of view, but he's so full of confidence, no problem to him. Manages to chip the keeper with a great finish. And I think we're in a situation now. Obviously, we know the multi-club model that's operating down in Waterford. That we probably know where this kid's going to end up now. And in the summer, and like when you've got pace like that and you know how to use it, like he's using it, I don't think they'll be holding on to him for too long. He's a great talent, and to be fair, they put a real Keith, like Johnny touched on it there. Keith's doing a great job down there. Like I was at that game up in Tallaght as well, and I'd say Pats took great confidence looking at that match, because like Waterford came and had a go, and it's very like over the last few weeks, like not many teams have gone to Tallaght and actually had a go with them. They had a go and got their rewards. They're very strong up the top end of the pitch with Porrigamont, obviously, and Parsons. Patterson's doing his bit as well. So it's exciting times for Waterford. They've had a great week there, 3 wins on the bounce. So yeah, you have to hand it to Keith. He's doing great.
Yeah, they're up to fourth at the moment above Galway, 6 points off Shells with a game in hand. So it just shows how competitive the table is and how it can swing. But from a Dundalk point of view, Johnny, I suppose that the early optimism from that first match when Noel King was in charge and they beat Bows and they beat them well, 2-0, that's faded very dramatically now. And with the Derby defeat, and then of course this trashing of Waterford, and then they host Shamrock Rovers next. Who will probably be like a dog with a bone in terms of trying to get back to winning ways as quickly as possible. And then they've Galway, Derry, Pats, and Shells. And then on top of it in the background, according to the journalist James Rogers, Brian Gartland's association with the club, which has gone.
I see that, yeah.
It's about, I think, nearly 11 years now involved as either as a player, captain, etc. Now the head of football operations. This is supposedly coming to an end now. And Rogers and his reporting cited disagreements over the club's direction as a factor. It's just the mood music there is not good at all. And then there was the thing about the supporters group as well, who want Brian Ainscliffe, the owner, to reverse the decision to appoint Noel King. So it's just sort of poor headlines everywhere at the moment for them.
But you know what? His first match he gets a win. Noel King gets a win, and everything is all okay. But overall, the place is it's not in a good place. I know the owner, Brian Ainscliffe. I played with Brian. He was an ex-Home Farm player. He played in my age group growing up, and good player. He went away a couple of times, but then he went to America and made his few bob. But look, he obviously has plans for the club, and there's obviously going to be some sort of funding and backing coming in as well. We don't know the long-term plans, but the short-term plan is that they need to get a few wins and they need to pick up points, because Owen tipped on it there. Kevin Doherty does a brilliant job at Drogheda. Brilliant job. They're ahead of them, they're 15 points, they're 6 points ahead of Dundalk, swing whatever 6 matches, and it's going to be difficult for them to get out. Sligo are going to be picking up points, and so it's really going to be difficult. I don't see how they're going to get out, because there's not an easy game in this league. We're talking about Waterford, we're talking about the Galways, we're talking about Bows. Bows either only win or lose. They don't draw. They've only drawn 2 matches this season. They either win matches or lose matches. Pats will be on the up now with a new manager. As I said, Waterford really difficult to beat. Rovers will have all the ball on Friday night. They'll just, as Stephen Bradley said in his interview, they create chances. They'll create chances all night, and it could be difficult for them on Friday night if things don't go right and they don't keep it right from the start. But the short-term plan for Dundalk is to make sure they stay in the league. I mean, if Ryan Ainscliffe has gone into Dundalk and he's left Derry in first division. He might be back up in the first division with Dundalk if they don't get the wheels moving and get them moving fast. Because, as I said, Drogheda are used to this every year, a bit like, I think I mentioned this before, a bit like the Finn Harps. They know what to do. They know how to stay in the division. They'll scrap it out. They dig in. Sligo went through a bit of a tough time, but, they're going to be hard to peg back as well. There's no one sinking. There's no one dropping down to be down there with Dundalk, to be down there in second last place. So this is a really, really difficult time for Dundalk.
Yeah, because of course Galway and Sligo picked up a point in their 0-0 draw as well, Johnny. And I mean, probably Sligo will be the more frustrated given they're a little bit closer to those bottom two clubs at the moment, and probably because also they had some good chances towards the end, particularly Waweru, who probably should have been a bit more clinical with the chance he had.
And that's the difference. That's, Owen's a striker. That's the difference. We're talking about young Melia scoring that goal against Rovers and stuff. That's the difference. The top quality players will finish them off. And when you're down that end of the table, you don't get that many chances. So you've got to have someone there that, when it gets to him, that you finish it off and you put it away and you can hang on. From the defending point of view, when you're in a team like that, you'll dig in, you'll try and hold out if you know you're a striker that can put them away. But look, it's going to be difficult, as I said. Not an easy game at all, whatsoever. Sligo, there's so much potential up there. John Russell's, they looked at him last year and people thought John would have lost his job. They stuck with John, and I'm glad he did. He's a good young coach, John is. I hope they'll be all right, but they need to change things a little bit up there. They need to be getting up the table, the likes where Waterford are, and chasing for them European spots, because it's a good club and they got good support. But I'm just going to go back to Dundalk. I really don't see a ray of hope or a ray of sunshine for them at the moment.
There's not much sunshine here anyway in terms of the actual weather as well. They just happen to look out the window and there's just a big sort of a ceiling of greyness there. But anyway, Sligo Rovers, they're going to be our live game this Friday, hosting Bohemians live on RTÉ2, RTÉ Player from 7:30. So that's there to watch. And of course, plenty of fixtures coming up this Friday with Shells hosting Waterford, as we mentioned, Shamrock Rovers away at Dundalk, Drogheda at home to Galway, and then Pats Derry. And then there's also matches on Monday with the clubs that are involved in Europe later in the season. So Shells are making the trip to Pats and Shamrock Rovers are taking on Derry City in Tala. And then in the first division, on Friday, Finn Harps beat Longford Town 3-2. Treaty United and Wexford shared the spoils 2-2 there. UCD won 2-1 at Kerry. Cork City won the Cork Derby 3-0 at Cove Ramblers, and then Athlone Town, who are up to third in the table, beat Bray Wanderers 2-1. And in the Women's Premier Division over the weekend, so it was a bye week for the leaders Galway United, which left reigning champions Peamount, FAI Cup holders Athlone and Shelburne with the challenge of closing the ground, while Galway were sitting out this week. So Shells did so with a 3-0 win at DLR Waves, with captain Pearl Slattery contributing a brace to move within a point of Galway, while Peamount also won 1-0 at sixth place Treaty United thanks to a late Ellen Doyle goal, and Athlone also won by 1 goal margin, Chloe Singleton getting the only goal of the game against Wexford. And then elsewhere, Sligo Rovers and Bows drew 0-0, and Shamrock Rovers' early season struggles with Cork City. The Shamrock Rovers are third from bottom at the moment, Cork City prevailing 2-1 at Turner's Cross, and they've had a fairly positive start to the season. They're up to fifth at the moment. But we're going to finish on the Premier League because the title race is going to go to the final day thanks to Arsenal's pretty nervy win away at Manchester United there yesterday. But before we talk about Arsenal, first, Eoin, just Manchester City just looks really inevitable, just even the way they brushed Fulham aside on Saturday. Once you see Erling Haaland probably not having the greatest of games, and then who pops up but somebody who's been actually contributing goals, getting used to playing out of position in left back, and that's Josko Vardiol, and they just seem to always have an answer.
Yeah, they're incredible, and this is the time of the year that they come into their own. Like they never like throughout the last few seasons really drop points this stage of the season. They're machines when it comes to that. They've got obviously a great mentality and obviously incredible players to back it up. And as you touched on there, like they're getting goals from everywhere now. For him to pop up with a brace and potentially could have been given the penalty as well to get his hat trick from left back is an unbelievable achievement. And obviously they've got the likes of Foden still chipping in with goals. And it's just they're not going to slip up. Like I just can't see it. Like they go to Spurs tomorrow night. I know Spurs beat them earlier on the season, but I think that was at a stage where like people were still trying to figure out Spurs, and I think they've been kind of figured out now. And no better man than kind of Guardiola to put his team or to set his team up in the proper way to go and beat them tomorrow night. Obviously, from the Arsenal point of view, they'll be looking at this tomorrow and waiting. Because like I think City play West Ham at home. I think they'll beat them any score they want to. So it's all riding on tomorrow.
Yeah, but I suppose, Johnny, with the way it looks in terms of the table and what Arsenal did yesterday, I mean, every test, apart from the Villa game, they've overcome it, and at least they put themselves in the conversation for Sunday. They're 1 point clear, and they're just making City have to answer, and we'll see what they do on Tuesday against Spurs then.
And then in another year, they'd have won the league, Arsenal, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? They've done everything right. In fairness to them, you know, they've had a right go. Obviously, they're home to Everton. Everton nothing to play for. They should get the result against Everton. City going away to Spurs. Like, I know Spurs, like the way they play so high up the pitch, so there should be chances created. I've seen Spurs beat them last year in the Etihad. I was over there, and but Harry Kane was obviously playing in that game. But should get the job done. You know, the match the other day when he was going for his hat-trick and he wouldn't let him take the penalty because the goal difference is going to be vital. You know, I think City are 3 points behind Arsenal in goal difference. I think that's what it is.
3 behind.
Yeah, and you know, there was no sentiment. It was like, you're not taking the penalty because in case you miss, we need every goal. And it's very, you know, there was no messing. And then they got West Ham, you know, so they're home to West Ham on the last day. And look, the draw, because, you know, Spurs could pick a draw, gives them, puts City to 85 points, or 86 points, and then it's all down to the last day of the season. And it could be, you know, it could be one on goal difference. Who knows? I'd love to see Arsenal win it. I have to say, because, you know, they've been knocked, you know, last couple of years, people knocking, here we go again, come Christmas, Arsenal will be gone out, and he's kept them going, Arteta, whether you like him or not. He's kept them going, and he's brought the right players into the club. You know, the Trossard getting his goal yesterday, the lads chipping in with goals. Saka's been brilliant this year. You know, Royce getting his goals, all the guards getting a few goals from midfield. So look, it's intriguing coming down to the last 3 games, basically 2 for City and 1 for Arsenal. But for me, I've no allegiance to either club, but I'd like to see Arsenal do it.
Yeah, and even if they don't, the fact that they've proven a few doubters wrong this time, they have a very young squad and they seem to have you know, potential to grow further even from where they are now. Do you still look at it as you know, as a sort of that eventually Arsenal look like a club that are going to win something in the long term, Johnny?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's not like, you know, for Arsenal, as I said, the building and, you know, like even Havertz coming in and getting his goals this year, you couldn't hit a barn door when he was, you know, at Chelsea and stuff. So he's come in, his confidence up, the players' confidence are up. So it's not like Arsenal were like 10 points clear and Man City, this juggernaut is coming behind and just catch them on the line like in a racehorse, in a race where he's just caught the line. It's not that. So, you know, even if they don't win it, I think with the group of players that they have, they'll all want to buy into it. They'll all say, yeah, this next season we go again. And that group, you know, will have a right go again next season and over the next couple of seasons if they can hold on to the players. So that's a big positive for Arteta.
Yeah, I suppose on the final point, just in terms of the Tuesday game involving Spurs, and you know, there's a lot of narrative around, you know, would Spurs want to be doing Arsenal a favour? You've been a player very, very recently. Though I suppose those kind of things don't factor in at all. You know, obviously they're still, and it'll be dependent on what happens between Villa and Liverpool today in terms of the Champions League, but they still have something to fight for, and they're professionals at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, like people often forget that footballers aren't fans of the clubs they play for. You know, it's just a job. Like they'll be going out there trying to do their best, like they always do when they go onto the pitch. And I know obviously from the fan base, they might be raging when they score. If Spurs go up, their own fans might not be celebrating it. But it's a very unique situation considering the rivalry between Spurs and Arsenal. But yeah, there's no way them Spurs players will be going out there and trying to win the match. As you said, there they have a slight chance of making Europe this season, I suppose. So they're gonna go in and try their best up until mathematically they can't. So but listen, like being totally honest here, like you don't know what you're gonna get from Spurs, but you know what you're gonna get from City every time they go onto the pitch. I just can't see anything past the City win tomorrow night in that match.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but hopefully anyway, we'll see. Hopefully anyway, it'll be tight enough going into the final day, and we have a couple more twists and turns. But there are twists and turns, of course, as well. Before we go in the playoff races in terms of promotion and the championship, nothing really happened. Two stalemates in terms of the two. Yeah, no goals at all in the two games, which was West Brom against Southampton and then Norwich against Leeds. But of course, we'll see what happens.
I think Leeds should have got a penalty. You know where my allegiance is now. I think Leeds should have got a penalty.
I seem to be running into Leeds fans everywhere. There's a fellow who runs a business just around the corner from me, huge Leeds fan as well. And
he must be my age bracket, 41 or 42. You know.
Yeah. Because I was talking to somebody. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, I just think that they're good for the to get up. I mean, but it's just so difficult. You know, the QPR game, they got beaten 4-0, and it just knocked them. You know, they've been on a bad run of form, and then, you know, when you go into the playoffs, someone that finishes maybe 20 points behind you can beat you in the playoff final day. It's just heartbreaking, and it's financially as well. It's huge, but I think Leeds are great for the Premier League with the fans, and no disrespect to any other clubs, but I just think they add to the Premier League.
Yeah, they certainly do. Obviously, great history as well, especially great history with Irish players as well, going back to, I don't know if you were implying it was the Johnny Giles days or something that you were first watching them, which is a good while ago. But anyway.
It was a black and white TV.
But anyway, before we go, Eoin, you'd mentioned before off air before we kicked off that you're going to watch your former club Bolton as well. So in the League One side of things as well, there's a lot happening.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, can't wait. Saturday, go over on a day trip now. Watch them. They're playing Oxford, and they're very unlucky not to go up in the top two, but they finished third. So no, hopefully they can get over the line Saturday. It's a wonderful club, like, you know, full of ambition, and I don't know that if they do go up, they'll try steady the ship, I'm sure, in the first year, but they'll have a go of trying to get back into the Premier League. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good old day out.
Yeah, a club with a lot of history as well, and quite recently as well, especially in the big Sam days as well. But look, we're done for today. Eoin, thanks very much for your time, and enjoy the trip up to see Bolton. And Johnny, also cheers to yourself as well for coming on.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, see you.
Thanks, Raf.